Greetings, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I have drifted into the underworld. The Star Wars Underworld. I have a bad feeling about this.
Here we go. We must go to the lower levels. The underworld.
You've taken your first step into a larger world.
You're after something.
Ben.
Since I've started the underworld, I've met so many great friends.
Chris.
I grew up in the 1990s, and mall packaging is nostalgic for me.
Dominic.
What I love most about Star Wars is that it's fun and it's all-round good times.
So, this is where the fun begins.
May the Force be with us.
This thing really moves!
Whoa! I like this!
I can't believe you came all this way to see me.
Why am I not in the intro? I gotta come up with a snappy line.
What's up, Star Wars fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Star Wars Underworld Podcast. We are your source for the latest breaking Star Wars news, reviews, and discussion each and every week. And this week on the show, it's the reviews. We're going to be reviewing episodes 7 and 8 of Season 1 of Maul, Shadow Lord. My name is Chris. Joining me is Dominic Jones.
Hello, Chris. Hello, Ben. Hello, everybody. It's good to be back. Kind of can't believe that this is the second last week we will be talking about Maul Shadow Lord. And I say that knowing that I never feel like more of an old man than when I talk about how quick these shows go by. Because here we are still in April. The show premiered in April and it's almost over. And I'm thinking back, you know, back in my day, the Clone Wars would premiere in October and it would go until April. And we still thought it was too short back then. So I don't know quite how you youngins handle this. But it's been a fun 4 weeks, and hopefully the fifth week will be just as much fun. Looking forward to getting into it. It's going to be a great show.
I definitely feel like it's kind of interesting they didn't call the show a miniseries. Because like it very much has that a mini-series vibe to it, and that regard.
But they're all mini-series now.
They're
like,
all mini-series. Yeah.
I
think I was trying to figure out what the like full runtime of the entire season was, and I was like calculating that it's going to end up being something to the length of the Snyder cut of Justice League in length. So that's mini-series length. Mini-series is like it's a little bit too long to be a movie. So we're just going to chop it up into little parts and release it, over a few weeks. That's what this is. Also joining us, it's Ben Hart, the Star Wars guy.
How's it going, everybody? Good to be back. And of course, I am excited for this, the big thing that everyone's talking about today, that is the biggest Star Wars news of this month. Obviously, I'm talking about Fortnite Star Wars season is here, baby. Yeah,
let's go.
It's back. No, I'm being only a teensy bit facetious with this remark because, like, genuinely, this is what I've been jazzed about all day. It's been keeping me going because they got Clone Wars, Ahsoka, and Anakin coming as skins, like, in a few hours. And there's a whole there's all kinds of stuff happening. It is May. It's May again. It's about to be May in a few hours. If you're listening to this in the future, it's already May, and yeah, lots of stuff is happening. It's hard to stay focused on Maul. Like, Maul is so good that I'm like, I just want to watch this thing. But then it's like, oh, Fortnite over here. There's Jon Favreau is around the world with Grogu. He's in Madrid right now promoting the movie. I'm just like, what is happening?
Ben, question from the non-gaming crowd here. What vital plot points from the beginning of The Mandalorian and Grogu will be revealed exclusively in Fortnite? Because that, I believe, is a Star Wars tradition going back to The Rise of Skywalker.
Help me out with this, Jeff. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure the droid things from The Mandalorian and Grogu are going to be like sidekicks. And then Rhoda is going to be a back. Was that?
That was not official. That wasn't in that announcement from this morning. But I think what Dom was referring to, they're premiering a 10-minute sneak peek of the movie.
No. What I'm referring to. I appreciate you guys trying to read my mind and not getting the reference that I'm making. I appreciate this. What I'm referring to.
No,
is
I
the
got
fact
it. I
that
got it.
A week before The Rise of Skywalker came out, vital information for the plot of that movie was revealed exclusively in Fortnite, including whatever the hell the crawl means when it says the dead speak. So I think that whatever the non-crawl for Mandalorian and Grogu, I expect there to be critical plot information that will only be revealed in this Fortnite season.
I will guarantee you, Dom, we will get a reveal of what the helmets are that will show up at the beginning.
Good. That's what I was worried.
There
That's
you
what I was
go.
worried about.
There
That's
you
what I
go.
wanted to see. That's all I've been waiting for.
I
I
haven't
need to know
even
how
been
many years
introed yet.
ABY it is yet.
Chris hasn't even introed me, and I'm already
They're just gonna see what the most popular skins are, and those will become the helmets that we will see at the beginning of Mando and Grogu. That's how they figure that out. Fortnite solved it.
Which Fortnite dance will Grogu do in the opening scene of Mandalorian and Grogu? Which one will he be?
They bring back the hip hop Yoda from episode 3's DVD.
Oh my god.
Confirmed Grogu will floss in the Mandalorian Grogu.
I feel like any dance references I make will be dated at this point. So, because I don't know what's popular now.
That's why I stopped with that. I was like, I don't know what they are. I don't know what they are anymore. I'm pretty sure I never knew.
Something that Zara Larson is doing. That's all. That's about as far as I can go.
I play Fortnite and I barely know the dances. I just know there's like 5 million emotes in the shop. It's insane, Dom.
And I know what an emote is. Yep. Yep. It's a electronic river that you build around your castle.
No, it's an electronic remote you use to press buttons. Emote, electronic remote.
I want to say good guess, but nah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yes. Also joining us, it's Jeff. Welcome, Jeff. Welcome back, Jeff.
Hi, well, great to be back here. A long time no chat. And in 3 weeks from right now, I will have seen The Mandalorian and Grogu, and I will have just finished the movie because they're doing the premiere, the Thursday night premiere, like at 2:00. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing, Disney? So I'm so hyped for that. There have been 5 million gaming announcements. Like that Power Wash Simulator 2 Star Wars pack has got me hooked. I can't wait to clean off an X-Wing with a power washer. I'm telling you.
I have
but, man.
so many questions about that.
I knew you would.
So many questions. First of all, what's wrong with people? Second of all, why? Third, maybe AI should take our jobs.
Maybe the AI decided that. Who knows?
Yeah.
Where that
think
came
about
from.
it, Dom, like you're washing a car with like a hose that's really fast, and think about like that, but like washing your favorite fictional franchise. Like they have like a Tomb Raider pack, a Final Fantasy pack, like I think they have an Adventure Time pack. So like just imagine like using like you're washing your car, but instead of a car it's an X-Wing. Like you should try it for yourself, Dom, because it is surprisingly
because X-Wings
therapeutic.
get dirty. I don't know if you noticed that. I don't know if you noticed. X-Wings do get dirty. Space is not clean.
Like maybe on Dagobah, this X-Wing may be not clean.
Are we gonna have a game too where like we mow the lawn on Naboo?
Yeah, you know what? I'm excited to announce the new Star Wars version of Paint Dryer. It's where somebody else paints your X-Wing and then you sit there and you watch it dry. That's what I'm really looking forward to playing. I'm also looking forward to Star Wars Vacuuming, where you will clean the Rebel base. And
this is why you're not invited to game night, Dom. This is why.
Oh my god.
So this is why Dom doesn't show up, huh? No.
I don't understand what's going on.
Dom wants the chores games.
Yeah,
I've been trying to get Dom and Hannah on the Fortnite. Like, oh, look at all this Star Wars stuff coming out, and they're like,
Jeff,
I don't know.
If there's a version of the game where you can clean C-3PO's bathroom, then I'll be there. And I really look forward to playing that.
C-3PO has a bathroom?
I imagine it's gold.
That's causing more questions than it's answering, but okay.
Wow. That's a lot happening.
All right. Well, There was something else I wanted to do off the top, but I don't know if this is appropriate anymore, other than just to say, happy birthday, Ben. It was Ben's birthday last week. And we should say happy birthday to Ben.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Ben. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ben. I hope you spent it playing your favorite washing games where you get to scrub a dub, your favorite
no comment.
fictional
No
vehicles. Ben's looking forward to the game where you get to clean Rada the Hutt's abs. That's the video game that Ben is waiting on.
Oh my gosh, this is where
look,
the term washboard abs come from.
Oh my God.
Look, don't talk about abs, okay? Don't. You're going to trigger my depression again, okay? I don't want to talk about it.
So Ben, I always ask on Christmas time when I do a podcast, like what Star Wars gifts did you get for Christmas? Did you get anything for your birthday, Star Wars wise?
Oh, I did actually. Thank you for asking, Jeff. I got two Mandalorian and Grogu figures. Because they randomly popped up in my local Walmart. So I got the Mandalorian and Grogu, the two sets. It's a huge set of like all these different figures or whatever else. It comes with a rifle. The scope on the rifle is detachable. It's so tiny. It's ridiculous. And also I got a AT-AT pilot. So I got those two figures. My Black Series obsession, it's come back. So oops.
Fantastic. Well, happy birthday, Ben. Do hope you had a good one.
Thank you very much.
And I hope you got to celebrate by watching more Maul Shadowlord, which we will discuss in a minute. Chris, why don't we plug some things, then we'll dive into these episodes.
If you're watching on YouTube live, punch the subscribe button at Chewy. You can super chat with us. If you're not watching live, you can become a channel member and support us that way. Please also subscribe and leave a review if you're listening to this show on your favorite podcast app. You can join the aforementioned game night by checking out the SWU Network Discord. Link is in the description. There's also watch parties there and discussion throughout the week in various channels about stuff beyond Star Wars as well. Make sure you follow us at the SWU on social media and check out all the other shows we have on the network. The Raeside over on Hannah's channel, and I on Canon and Tractor Beam on this channel, and Tales from Beyond the Galaxy over on their channel.
All right. Let's actually one more thing to plug. If you're in the Toronto area, tomorrow, as we record this today, as you're probably listening to it yesterday, as I'm sure some of you are listening to it, Resistance Fest is happening at Handlebar. Come on out for some Star Wars themed music and good times. You can find
also
details.
F the Empire.
Yes, exactly. You can find details on social media. We've shared the link on the SW Instagram, but it's Resistance Fest CA is the social handle to find it.
Why was Resistance Fest not scheduled for the same weekend the movie would come out so we could all go?
That's a good question. That is a good question.
Missed opportunity.
Next time for Starfighter.
Yes. This is what happens when you have a movie come out 3 weeks after Star Wars Day. It kind of screws it up. Star Wars Day.
Yeah, it puts everything out of balance. All right, let's get into things, and we'll talk about Maul Shadowlord, Chapter 7, Call to Oblivion, written by Julia Cooperman and directed by Nate Villanueva, and Chapter 8, The Creeping Fear, written by Jennifer Corbett and directed by Saul Ruiz. Let's go around the table, give some initial impressions, and Ben, as a birthday present to you, you're not going to go first this week. You get to take a little pause here. Chris, it has been several. Chris, it has been several weeks since we've heard your thoughts on Maul Shadowlord. Give us as quick as you can, which I know is going to take about 17 minutes. Your thoughts on what we've seen so far, and most emphatically these two most recent episodes.
Yeah, so I'm going to take 2 hours, and
All right.
The reason why is because the show is so not episodic, and that I feel like I'm probably going to be referencing the previous episodes a lot when talking about these episodes and just the overall story. So you'll hear my thoughts about some previous things that happened, when we come up to talking about specific topics, characters, etc. But I think the kind of overall view, and then zooming in on these episodes, is that I feel like Maul Shadow Lord is so far the most effectively paced animated Star Wars show. The reason why I say animated is because I still think Andor is pretty well paced as well, and so it's kind of up there with Andor for me for how it's paced out episode to episode throughout the whole season. But I think compared to even Bad Batch, which was pretty good, but especially like Clone Wars and Rebels, where they were still trying to figure things out, Resistance, I feel like they've really perfected pacing with this show. It's like, every episode seems like it means something, seems like it matters. There's not long periods of time where you feel like you're going on like a side quest and you don't really you could skip ahead and you don't really miss anything. Like there's something important, every so many minutes to the show. And it just continues, interesting you and keeping you hooked. And, at least, once a week, there's something in those episodes that, are making you so excited to continue watching and come back next week. So I'm very excited that they've been able to get to that level with something and have something where really each episode feels more like a chapter of a bigger story rather than maybe a bunch of mini movies strung together with the same overall overarching arc, which I feel like a lot of other Star Wars projects tend to feel like. So I love this show, and I continue to love the tone of the show as well. And I know Jeff, I don't know if you've mentioned this on your reviews yet as well, but something I mentioned first week was it really reminds me of a DC, especially Batman universe genre show in Star Wars. There just continues to be references, even direct references, I feel like, to Batman with like, I think it was was it Inquisitor kind of just standing over like a ledge with like this ominous music looking over the city, just like Batman. Like it's like, I'm really loving this. And I'm so excited to dive into specific what happened as well in these episodes and how it relates to everything else.
Yeah, I think this is the first show that's been made with the understanding that it is a streaming show, right? Like Clone Wars and Rebels and Resistance were all made in a different era. They were all made to be watched on television with the idea that in Clone Wars' case in particular, eventually it would be syndicated. Eventually people would watch it, not going episode to episode to episode. So you could there had to be an element of you could just drop into this and watch it. Bad Batch, for whatever reason, chose to continue that sort of structure, and it worked pretty well. I think it succeeds at doing that. But this is the first one where it's like, no, we know that people are going to watch episode 1, then episode 2, then episode 3, then episode 4. There's not that element of, oh, what's on TV right now? Let me turn on the TV. Oh, look, the Bad Batch. Oh, look, Maul Shadow Lord. I don't understand what's happening. Let me change the channel and watch The Big Bang Theory or whatever. That doesn't exist for this show. Everybody's going 1, 2, 3, all the way through 10. And so because they've leaned into it, it's made it all the more impactful. And you can have episodes like these 2 episodes that are so strong on their own, but they exist that way. They get to be that way because they come after 1 through 6. Jeff, let's go to you. Let's get your thoughts on chapters 7 and 8 in particular.
These were 2 of my favorite episodes of the 8 we've had thus far of Maul Shadow Lord. I have loved the choreography, the animations, the music, obviously, and the visuals, the tropes that are going on, what Maul's going through. And it's, to piggyback off of your point, Dom, it's fascinating because watching, we talk so much about how the live action shows, the Mandoverse, incorporates stuff from the Clone Wars, stuff from the animated shows, characters, tropes, certain storylines or whatnot. Like, people will say Ahsoka season 1 is literally season 5 of Rebels. I think we're not talking enough about how Maul Shadow Lord actually feels more like a live action show with the pacing of Andor, like Ben said, or whoever said earlier. And we say a lot of stuff, or like, but there were moments where I'm like, wow, this feels like Andor in regards to like every moment matters. It might not always look like it matters, but when you see the big picture, it's like, oh, everything's important here. Every reference, every scene, every line of dialogue. And that was what I think Andor mastered so well. So to see Maul Shadow Lord evoke that, I told y'all 2 weeks ago, I was skeptical of the premise of the show because we've had a lot of shows in this era of Star Wars. And we just had the Bad Batch in this very similar era. I never thought I would be so happy and hyped up and excited to see Maul face off against 2 Inquisitors with spinning double blade sabers. We'll get to that later, but like that, those were the highlights to me. Like, these 2 episodes were amazing.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like what's the right comparable for this show to another Star Wars show, and Andor is certainly a fair comparison, but I think the one that it's meant to evoke the most is Obi-Wan Kenobi, in that it's a very like Maul is at the center of the show the same way Obi-Wan was at the center of the show, and it's like a straight line story. There are side plots, there are other characters, but there are no like arcs to it the way Andor has. It's not an episode adventure of the week the way Mando could be or Book of Boba could be, and it's not an ensemble cast the way Acolyte was. And so I think that's meant to be it. Now Obi-Wan Kenobi is a show that I think is very, very, very good, and I think somehow has become underrated in the years since it's been on.
I still watch it all the time. It's my favorite Disney Plus show. So to me, it's overrated. I
think it's terrific. But I think I would, at this moment in time, I think Maul Shadow Lord is succeeding more at doing that laser focused story on one of these characters. But that's not, I'm not here to, this isn't a what's better, Obi-Wan or Maul debate. That gets settled in Phantom Menace, Rebels, the Clone Wars, several other places with lightsabers.
Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, sorry.
Ben, let's get your thoughts on the episodes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I've just been thinking, because you guys are making a lot of great points, that like I think there's few shows, there's definitely a few Star Wars shows that I feel like every episode is better than the last. And I think this show has continued to build on itself, and I'm every week I've been more impressed by each episode. It's giving me more intrigued. I'm more leaning forward to my seat, going like, where is this going? And and just what it's doing for the characters, and how it's juggling all these different storylines and all these different characters, and these really 3 factions of characters that are how they are playing with each other. And then and then on top of that, giving Maul has in certain episodes been a kind of a background player a lot of times. He hasn't been at the forefront. I think that's wise. Because I think Devin and all these guys, they're incredibly interesting characters that's created this kind of ensemble cast that makes you invested immediately. And there are other characters that we don't know the fates of, really, that we don't know where they're going. So it's even more interesting to see how they're played out and be on the edge of your seat, going what's going to happen? Because I don't know, everyone's been saying every week that Master Daki's going to die. He's still alive somehow. So that's weird. But I like that it really gives Maul, Maul gets put through the ringer in this episode. That was incredibly, and weirdly rooting for Maul and kind of being in fear of Maul, even though I know he's not going to die. And also I know he's an asshole. Why am I rooting for this guy? Things you see that giant battle on the bridge, such a great battle, such a great lightsaber duel between 3 people with double-bladed lightsabers, crazy stuff. And it's why everyone sucks here. Everyone sucks. No matter where this goes, it can't be bad because all these people are bad and they deserve what's coming to them. But you still are invested in Maul's story enough to go I want Maul to succeed, and he's on the back foot. He is, it's this great juxtaposition from the last episode where he was on the top of his game. He shows up at this very pivotal moment and gives Merrick a run for his money, and now the tables are turned, and it's just it's so visually stunning. As Jeff pointed out, the music's great. Everything is just like amazing. Like, you can't say it enough. I feel like a broken record saying like it's beautiful, it looks great, but like we still don't say it enough. Like the animation is superb, and the storytelling, I think, is matching that level of greatness. So really enjoying it.
Yeah. These two episodes have me questioning a certain assumption that I've had for the entire series, and we'll get into that later. But I do think we should start with Maul. We did talk last week about how he was he was playing second fiddle to everybody else. This week is very much the opposite. This is truly, truly, truly the Maul show. And that is, I think, most true in The Creeping Fear, but it starts in Call to Oblivion with that aforementioned lightsaber duel against the two Inquisitors that leaves him injured and stumbling through the sewers of Janix, where he has his own little dark side vision quest. Jeff, I'm going to come to you first on this. What did you think of Maul's, his flashbacks, his journey there of confronting his past, and the realizations that he comes to at the end of it?
Wow, darn. Maul really hates Sidious. Okay, before I get on a tangent of that point, Sam Witwer, top tier, 10 out of 10 voice acting. The way he is, I mean, he's always been amazing at Maul, but especially in episode 8, just seeing the pure emotions that Maul had during these hallucinations, and like I said, the hatred he had for Sidious and his memories of what happened, what Obi-Wan did to him in the Phantom Menace. Obviously not Rebels, that would be 15 years later, but just, oh man, like there's always something about the inner psyche of characters in Star Wars, especially the ones we see, because these characters are not well in the head. They don't go through happy times and shiny rainbows and all that. Like they are going through adversity. They have trauma. They have a shocking past, and I think there's always more room in the Star Wars saga to explore that further. We see it a lot, with Darth Vader, especially a lot of the comics that goes deeper into Vader's psyche while he, just dealing with, the past. But in the case of Maul, I really loved the visuals of that scene where Maul's going, like, he's like, it's almost like that scene in the Uncharted movie where like Nathan Drake's like just walking through a desert, all the wind, and like there's nothing else around, and it's just like, I'm lost, where do I go? I felt that way with Maul in that episode, and just seeing I'm kind of rambling at this point, but like that was the most powerful, in my opinion, the most powerful sequence of the show. That right after the cliffhanger at the end of episode 7, where the my brain is thinking Night Sisters. No, the Inquisitors. Excuse me. The Inquisitors basically beat Maul. And that was already such a shocking scene. To follow that up, like, it's just masterful storytelling, and just, it was amazing, Dom.
Yeah, it really was. Chris, let's go to you. What did you make of that whole sequence of Maul in the tunnel confronting his memories or visions of the past, whatever exactly he's going through?
I think this is kind of important to specifically for a show where Maul's the main character. Mm-hmm. And I think it's what separates it from the previous iterations of Maul stories, where he's definitely the antagonist, the villain, and it's kind of about the arc of another character, and he's a foil to that. I think, in this show, there is a focus on Maul specifically. So going into his past, going into psychologically what's motivating him is a very important for the storytelling of this show, with him being the primary character that everything is revolving around. So I'm really glad that, they didn't leave Maul as a cardboard cutout of himself, an action figure of himself, and are really kind of getting into his psyche. And I think that's really important for the depth of the show. So I'm really glad that they're doing that. And I think that's pretty much all you can do with his character, because we know his fate. We know where he's going. We know where he came from. You know, there's not going to be any real big surprises when it comes to plot twists with Maul. But what we can do is we can get to know his character more, so that when we're both seeing things that happened to him in his past, we can have a deeper, more nuanced view of how it's affecting him. And then when we see him in the future and his fate, we can have, you know, an even more nuanced view of how he got there and how he emotionally got there. So this is adding depth, not just to this show, it's adding depth to all of the Maul moments that we get in other shows and movies, which is fantastic. So I'm really glad that this element has been added, and I think these scenes were very effective for that.
Although if they had left him as just an action figure, he would have had some sweet packaging. Very nostalgic.
Yes.
Ben, we get a kind of a between the scenes with Savage, where the flashback with Savage, where they're children, and we see how sort of traumatic it was for him to leave. We see a little glimpse of his training, and then we see all the suffering that follows with direct flashbacks to the Clone Wars, which is not something we usually see. We when we see flashbacks in Star Wars, it's very rarely just footage from another thing. I don't think we've ever really done that. Maybe some audio moments in like The Force Awakens, but usually it's some kind of recreation. Whereas here we got like literal scenes from the Clone Wars just superimposed into this show.
Right.
But the revelation that Maul gets to at the end is, you know, he's been out for revenge. He wants revenge. And the revelation he gets to it about why, I thought was a much more sympathetic and much more wholesome core for Maul than I think we've ever anticipated, of him apologizing to his younger self and vowing that he won't ever let Sidious do that to somebody again. What did you make of that moment of Maul kind of having a breakthrough of all of these things that he's going to do, all of these terrible things that he's going to do? It's not for greed. It's not for money. It's not for power. That all may come with it, but it's what it's really about is protecting this version of him that's gone. Not allowing Sidious to do that to anybody else, not allowing that to happen to anybody else. What did you make of that kind of pure good guy Maul kind of moment?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, lot to unpack here. You're bringing up a lot of great points here, because, like, first of all, just to backtrack to like what you're talking about with the flashbacks themselves. Like, I love that it kind of gave us a little bit of everything. It kind of gave us some new stuff, gave us some, you know, Maul. Like, I think that's fascinating. Like, seeing Maul and Sidious like training, like that's so cool. Seeing young Maul and Savage, but also getting like, you know, a different point of view on the Phantom Menace and what happened there, and then going to Clone Wars and getting like some straight like visions. And it's like something, a little bit of something for everybody in regards to like, it's for the hardcore fans who've seen everything. Like, this is new stuff, but for anybody that maybe like is watching Maul for the first time, they may not know what Maul's going through. This kind of gives you a taste of just like, hey, yeah, you know, you're probably, I don't know how much it'll actually like explain like what's going on here, but it will like give you a little bit of a glimpse into like what Maul's been through so far and how he got to date. I think that's really cool. But also I love that this whole sequence is bookended by Maul seeing his reflection and slapping at the door and going, I hate you. Like, he's seeing his younger self and going, I hate you. And then, and the other side of that, after he's seen all these visions, looking at himself and things, and like sounding way different as Maul to me, like so different. This like almost like this taking on this caring tone, like saying it's all right. I'm like, I've never heard Maul sound like this before. This is monumental in regards to like, it feels like there's some growth. And I know the sad thing about Maul is that he does have that appointment with Ben Kenobi on Tatooine in a few years, where he's going to die, and he's not going to turn away from this path of vengeance, and Ben Kenobi's going to have to put him down. But in the meantime, it feels like there is some growth here. There is some learning, and I think that's what's bad about this, is because he does learn something. He does go through this, and he has this experience, and he learns to be, maybe more caring to his younger self, which I've heard people talk about in real life, being like, understanding trauma as a child and dealing with that as an adult, and that's a real thing that people go through. People have to deal with that stuff and have to look at what happened to them through their kid self's eyes and process that. And this is what Maul has been dealing with, a lifetime of trauma, and now he's coming at the end of this, and for a moment it's like, okay, he's kind of getting there, but then he goes back, he does the Maul thing. Sidious, he's focused on, I won't let him do this to anybody else. And just like, as it is with anybody, we are all the products of our surroundings. We are all the products of the people who raised us, and some people aren't good at raising people, Sidious being one of them. But that doesn't mean you get to ignore all of your problems and the fact that, like, Maul is like surrounded now by people. This whole planet is gone to hell because Maul just couldn't let it go. Like, everything's falling apart because Maul just is a jerk. And it is this fascinating, like, backwards and forwards of just like this Maul cycle. This scene really kind of encapsulates the cycle of violence that Maul is in, that he will unfortunately never truly get out of.
Yeah, the dark side. So the thing about the dark side, right, is it tends to come out of pain, right? Anakin's worst moments are all when he feels the most hurt. Yoda says to Luke in Empire, aggression, anger, fear, the shadow of the dark side, are they quick to join you in a fight? So when you are suffering, when you have that fight or flight thing come on, it's easy to listen to the dark side and go attack, attack, attack. And the challenge for anyone is to not ignore that part of you, but to figure out how to go from attack, attack, attack to something that is more balanced, that is more hopeful, that is more optimistic, that is more driven by whatever we call the light. And Maul doesn't know how to do that. So he knows that what happened to him was wrong. And at the beginning of the episode, when he's splashing when he's hitting his reflection, when he's seeing his younger self and he's saying, I hate you, he's hating how weak he saw himself as, because he hates weakness. He hates perceived weakness. And over the course of the episode, where he's forced to confront everything that's happened to him and all the pain that has come from that, he understands that the weakness that he sees in his younger self isn't something to be hated. It's something that should be protected. And so he's looking for, okay, what's the source of this? And he's right, it's Sidious. Everything that's happened to him can be traced back to what Sidious did to him. And what Maul is unable to find peace. That's not how he is. He's not at that point in his journey where he can find that. He's always going to be driven by anger, and so anger and fear and sort of these quote unquote darker emotions. So when he reaches that realization of, I should have protected my younger self, and I don't want what happened to me to happen to anybody else, it isn't his solution isn't to try and find balance within himself, trying to find peace with what happened, and then try to use that as a motivation to prevent this sort of collective dark experience from happening to people. It's just, okay, the only way I can do that is to defeat Sidious once and for all. And there is sort of a purity to what he's saying, right? There's a sort of a purity to that idea. Even if he personally won't ever be able to find peace. And we know he won't ever be able to find peace, right? When Obi-Wan kills him in Rebels, he asks about Luke. And what does he say about Luke? He says, he will avenge us. He's still thinking about vengeance, even in his final moments. He's thinking, okay, I couldn't stop Sidious. Kenobi couldn't stop Sidious. Nobody could stop Sidious, but maybe this kid will. And this kid will get vengeance for all of our younger selves who were tortured by Darth Sidious in one way or another for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And that's he can only see the world in this way. And that's why he's doomed to never be able to succeed, even if we now know that his motivations aren't inherently evil.
And what's fascinating about this is not a problem that just dark side users have.
Yeah.
Like this extends to many Jedi characters as well, because it's the same reason why Obi-Wan and Yoda couldn't succeed, because their plan was to just kill Vader and encourage Luke to kill Vader. And it was Luke who decided that he wasn't going to do it that way. And so, it shows that the real triumph of good over evil isn't in defeating evil, it's transforming evil back into good. And that's the part that Maul is missing here. And it's framed in a journey where a character is consumed by hate, but it certainly transcends being consumed by hate. Sometimes you can still be at peace and still have that wrong way of dealing with a situation where somebody has done something to hurt somebody, and then you have the option of how to respond to it.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I like you were saying earlier, because like it puts everything that he's done since then into a new perspective. It's why he couldn't he couldn't train Savage properly in the Clone Wars. He didn't know how. He only knew Sidious's way, and he didn't and he thought, the only way to go after this guy is to like beat the weakness out of ourselves. We can't have that. And even before this specific spiritual journey, it seemed like he was starting to reach that point of understanding there was more to it, because he approaches Devin throughout this series with kindness is probably the wrong word, but something that isn't, that we don't associate with, the typical. I mean, you see in the flashback, right? He doesn't attack Sidious in the right way, and Sidious just lightnings him. Maul's not doing that to Devin. He's not, force choking her or force lightninging her, which is what Count Dooku did to Savage. We saw that in the Clone Wars as well. The version of Sith training was, I'm just going to put you into as much pain. Maul was trying to make something more of a logical, emotional point of like, we are connected, we are united in something bigger. So that's why we should join. That's why you should learn from me. You should listen to me, because we have this shared pain, the shared trauma of Sidious ruined our lives in one way or another. And this episode just kind of puts that all into clearer perspective for him and for us. And so now everything that he does after this point is going to be motivated by, we're going to understand it's motivated by this real feeling of something wrong happened to me, and now I want to make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else. That's a good, valid emotion. That's a good, valid motivation for a character. And it how he goes about doing it, we may not agree with, but it's going to be hard to view him as just the empty, threat that he used to be. Now he really we understand where he comes from. We understand what motivates him. And he is, this is the most well-rounded version of Maul we've ever seen. He is now like fully fleshed out character in the way that, like you compared him to Luke Skywalker earlier, same way that Luke is.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Ben,
the fault of. Oh, sorry.
No, Jeff, go ahead. Take it away.
That's kind of the fault of how villains have traditionally been treated in Star Wars. Where usually it's like, okay, villain has their time, and then either they have a redemption story or a quick redemption arc, or they die. Or they have a redemption, then they die. In the case of like Ben Solo, Anakin Skywalker. And I think we all thought for so long that Maul was going to be the same way because that's what it was before the Clone Wars. We all thought he got cut in half and died at the end of Phantom Menace. But you're right, Dom. This like well-roundedness of this character is something that like you see more in regards to heroes, which makes sense. Hero's journey. That's what Star Wars is all about. But seeing it in a villain, you had also mentioned, Dom, about Maul wasn't exactly kind to Devin. What I think of it as is Maul's version of kindness. That's as much as you're going to get out of him, because again, like you said, he's a product of his upbringing. He's a product of his surroundings, and when you're tortured by Sidious so much for so long, and you embrace the dark side, you are a Sith. Like that is powerful and profound. And can I just say real quick, Dom, before we forget, do we know so Ewan McGregor is credited as Obi-Wan Kenobi in that flashback during one of those hallucinations? You hear "No" from Phantom Menace. I want to know if that is archival audio or if Ewan went into the voice booth and re-recorded stuff. I want to know.
I'm willing to bet a substantial amount of money that it's archival.
Darn. Yeah. I don't know. I think Ewan would do it if it asks. Like,
you know what? They could have asked him, and that could have been his response, and they just recorded it.
Then, like, why would he be credited in the end credits? Like, that was that long enough to like?
I mean, there's SAG has rules. SAG has rules. Yeah. So
this is true.
Yeah, I mean, in the Clone Wars, the series finale episodes, all the Order 66 stuff that's just from the movies, the voice actors or the actors from the movies get credited. So I think anytime you drag up the archival stuff, it does still get credited to the actor as though it were new, even though it's from 1999 in this case.
Sort of like when a song samples an older song, they still have to credit the older artist of that older song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Ben, do you want to add anything on this, or shall we keep going?
No, I love Sam Witwer talking to himself in that one scene. Doing both Maul and Sidious in the same scene. I do really love Sam Witwer's rendition of Sidious. So it's always fun when it pops up.
Yes, this is true. I want to talk a little bit about Devin here. So this is what I mentioned earlier, that there's something that I've believed for the course of this series. And for the first time now, I'm questioning what I've assumed about this show. And I think, like a lot of folks, I came into this show presuming that what we were watching was a character who would eventually turn to the dark side, character who would eventually embrace the dark side. And through the first 6 episodes, I think the show was definitely leading us in that direction. And ultimately, I'm not a betting man, despite my wager of substantial amounts of money that Ewan didn't record new lines for this episode. I'm not a betting man. But if I were, I would still lean towards this character is likely going to fall to the dark side, and that's going to set up season 2, and that's something that we've been building to all season. However, for the first time in these episodes, it occurred to me that I might be wrong, that maybe what we're witnessing here is not a character falling to the dark side, but a character walking right up to the edge, maybe putting a toe over, and then realizing, no, that's not for me. And what we're seeing here is not the rise of Maul's apprentice, not the rise of his ultimate second in command, but actually the rise of his nemesis. his antagonist through the rest of this series, and that the rest of this series won't be Maul and Devin take on Sidious, but will be Devin tries to bring Maul to some form of justice in this era, which we know justice is not really a concept that really exists in the Imperial era. Ben, what do you think of this? Am I crazy, or I mean, what's your read on Devin coming out of episodes 7 and 8? I think is more the what I'm interested in, rather than what you think of me.
I think my perspective on Devin's fall or her story so far is reliant on and is heavily affected on the fact that I know season 2 is coming. I think if I didn't know the show was renewed for season 2, I would be like, TikTok, are you gonna turn the dark side or what? You got 2 episodes left. Like I would be in that camp. Now I'm kind of like, okay, they might still be doing this. They're just gonna take a couple seasons or 3 or 4 to make this happen. It'll be a slow journey, which I think would be interesting. I think we've seen the various degrees of people turning to the dark side and the, you know, even though it's over time, obviously, I think everyone is more familiar with the Anakin style of turning the dark side, which is like just very quickly over time, but also very quickly just making one choice and going like, I'm going to serve that guy. That guy's my master. I'm going to do whatever he says, bad things, whatever. I think they have like leaned into the fact that she's not trustworthy. Like this episode in particular, like I think if I had to come up with like, oh, here's the thing I didn't like about this episode or these episodes, I'd be like, I would have taken a little more time with Devin and Maul together. I would have expected them by this point to be more together, to have more screen time together, to play off of each other and have the other characters also have screen time with him. So you can get that more playoff. And then it's like, it's been so kind of laid on heavy that she is skeptical of him. She doesn't like him. She says as much, but also she's like he doesn't. He's out of line, but he's right. And I think I do like your idea. I do like your idea. Just like the implication is that she's going to turn. The creators obviously want us to think that. The fandom has bought it hook, line, and sinker that she is going to be Darth Talon, obviously. But it would be a hell of a plot twist if just like, no, they will be kind of antagonists to each other going forward, and they will be kind of these co-lead characters that things. And you know, you could also apply that to be like, well, you know, Sith aren't exactly friends. They aren't exactly characters that are like, we're going to be best buds. Like their whole point is to kill each other. Like you know, Rook Cass is like, she tried to kill you, dude. What are you doing? She tried to kill you. He's like, yeah, I know. Isn't great, right? Didn't you see her? She tried to kill me. That's great. It's like you're talking to a Sith. Of course, he thinks it's cool that she tried to kill him. Like, you know, this is how they do this. But it also could mean that she's not buying what he's putting down, and she's never going to.
Yeah, like this is what I'm getting at is she clearly is intrigued by what he's saying. She obviously likes his action-oriented approach in comparison to her master. But she's not buying his into the idea that the teaming up is a good thing for both of them. She doesn't seem to have bought that notion of it. And she's telling Riley, don't listen to him, don't trust him. When they are together, she's not she's not staying and fighting alongside Maul. They're not in agreement about a lot of things. She does ultimately choose to go try and rescue Riley instead of staying with Maul and his crew. All of these things are, you know, she's and there doesn't seem to be a lot of hesitation there. There doesn't seem to be a lot of like her going, maybe which one. Like she doesn't seem torn. She seems very clear in what she's choosing. Again, could be a fake out. I could be misreading it. maybe these last 2 episodes are going to be huge, I'm sure. But it has left me with the question of, we've been assuming this. What if our assumption is wrong? Chris, let's start to you. What have you thought of, because and this is where I think you can talk about the whole series, the Maul Devon dynamic and where we've reached here in the penultimate week.
I recall having an initial series of thoughts on this after seeing the first couple episodes. It's been so long since then, and I don't even remember what my thoughts were after seeing a first couple episodes. I remember having an opinion, but I have to go back and see what it was. But I agree now with what y'all have been saying, that this assumption here is definitely an assumption. There's really no reason to think it's more likely than not that she's going to fall to the dark side. And I think it is very influenced by the fact that she's just roughly the same species as another character from a non-canon source. Like it's such a weak comparison there.
A non-canon source, and then like an uber non-canon bit of like concept for an unmade story.
Yeah,
that, it's not like we're looking at this going, hey, this is Darth Bane and Darth Zana, or there's like 2 characters that historically have this connection. It's like, here's 2 characters from in the previous continuity and Legends were from totally different eras. And then at some point someone, admittedly George, so maybe there's a little bit more to it, that in that fact that it was George, went, hey, I bet those 2 would look really cool on screen together. Why don't we put them together in a video game, a movie, a show, something?
Yeah. So it's very, not a lot to go off of there. But I think it really comes down to a lot of Star Wars is about showing the difference between characters that do have a set of principles and characters that are really just going off of their emotions. And, a good example would be, Luke versus Anakin. Like Anakin really doesn't have principles. He does want to protect people, but it's very much an emotional. It's because he wants to protect himself from his own emotions and I think Luke, on the other hand, it's not about protecting himself from his own emotions. He genuinely wants to protect those that he loves. And I think another even closer in the timeline and situation example would be like comparing Ahsoka with Barasafi would be a good example, because they both experience similar things. They both experience, they're in the middle of the collapsing of the Republic, the collapsing of the Jedi Order. Yet Ahsoka sticks to her principles and sticks to what the light side really stands for, even when there's so much hypocrisy around her order with that. Whereas then Barriss is just consumed by the emotions of something falling apart, the emotions of betrayal, the emotions of grief and loss, and lets that consume her and make some much different choices. And so I think that Devon is an example of, like, you can tell throughout the entire series so far that when tempted with other solutions to things that would go against her principles, she's standing up for her principles continuously. And so I think the juxtaposition between, her master and Maul is like a potential master. I think, at all these moments, she's kind of stuck to herself in both situations. She's argued with both what Maul wants to do and what her master wants to do, sticking up for her principles. So I think this story is definitely shaping up to be not a story of someone seducing someone and someone falling, but a story of 2 characters kind of being foils to each other, and both, continuing down their fates, even though they're very, very different. And I think that, if anything, it's also a story of Maul giving the opportunity to actually come back to the light through the example of Devon, and him ultimately he will fail in doing that. So I think it's really just like their interactions with each other, they're going to rub off a little bit on each other, and they're going to make each other consider each other's point of view. But I don't think either of them are going to end up in each other's camp. I think that Devin's going to end up, not falling to the dark side, not becoming filled with this need for revenge that Maul has, and then Maul, unfortunately, as we know, is not going to be very, very positively influenced by Devin. He's still going to continue down his path as well. But it's interesting to see the comparison of the two, and I think what it does is it shows as a morality play the difference in principles between two characters and how it impacts their individual destinies.
And the remaining sort of domino to fall in this first season, and Ben, you alluded to this earlier, is Master Iko Diodaki. Of what happens to him. He's had dead man walking energy since episode 1, and here he is we're going into the finale. It's seeming like he's gonna be okay, or he's made it this far, but he still feels like he's not going to be okay, is what I'm trying to say. And if we don't know what his fate will be, but if his fate were to be what we assume it is, as is the case for most Star Wars mentors, everyone from Obi-Wan to Qui-Gon to Han and Luke, it will be to die. If it's at Maul's hand, I don't think that's a way to make Devin into an ally of his. If it's at the hand of an Inquisitor or another character with a mask and a red lightsaber who maybe like breathes really heavily, then perhaps suddenly that appeal that Maul has been making to Devin of, you can't face the Empire yourself. And maybe Maul can even make the case, I can't face the Empire myself. Maybe we work together. That is still the remaining, I think, path to these two teaming up, if that is the way the story is going. What we've seen in these last 2 episodes, I think, as we've just talked about, is the point that it's not going to happen organically. It's not going to happen without another trauma. Maul is not going to win her over with a really good argument, or even torturing her the way that Sidious tortured him. Jeff, jump in here.
I found that pattern you're talking about, that trope of that. I saw that in The Last Jedi when Kylo Ren and Rey joined forces to face off against those Praetorians, like the Praetorian Guard I have behind me for those listening on Spotify. So they work together because in the moment, they are both, the Praetorian Guards are against them. They are defending themselves because they have to in the moment against these strong Praetorian Guards. They work together for that incredible sequence that we've talked about ad nauseum. And then after that's over, you would think, oh, maybe they're together forever. Yay, Reylo. But no, actually, no, they're still against each other. Their morals don't always align, right? And, the Reylos won't mind that because, opposites attract and all that. But what I'm trying to say is, just because you work together in one scenario or in one time frame does not mean you will always perfectly align. It's sort of like how relationships don't always last forever. Even in Star Wars, like a master and apprentice, Maul was not Sidious's apprentice forever. Sidious replaced him because of different morals and because, of other reasons in Star Wars. So I think it's very interesting talking about Devin and Maul in that way. And I think of it like that, where, they don't align very well. I mean, they started off the show in a lightsaber battle against each other after, that whole prison sequence because they are so morally disaligned. And I think you're right, Dom. It's more of okay, we have to work together because right now our backs are against the wall. The Inquisitors are, Maul is at its worst point, and, the Empire is everywhere. Like you said, you can't face the Empire alone. So I would agree that I would prefer this over this person's a light side who's going to turn to the dark side. I don't think it's that simple.
Yeah,
go
ahead, Ben.
No, sorry. I'm sorry. But I just want to add that, like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That trope is like rife in this era of Star Wars. Like, you have in Bad Batch, you have what is his name? Senator Singh, who's a separatist senator, who the Bad Batch rescues, and then he starts working with Rio Chuchi, who is a Republic senator, and like all this kind of stuff, and like forming this idea just like, oh yeah, okay, people that used to be enemies are now friends. And then, you get down to Andor and it's just like, Saul Guerrero is like ranting about galaxy partitionists, all these people people that I don't disagree with. And like, Luthen being like, we have to put all this stuff aside. We are all the same side now. The Empire, if there's one thing the Empire is good at doing that's actually good, is uniting a bunch of people against them, and making them fight against the Empire. And so, yes, in this instance, Devin and Maul and Daki and all these guys are on the same side. And, it'll be interesting to see how they actually deal with this. If they can put the differences aside, because they could, but then you have to kind of put the other end of that in there, which is like Maul is still a Sith. He's still influenced by the dark side of the Force, and he's gonna want he wants more power. And just like Ahsoka says, like we could have destroyed his city. So you could take his place. Like that's Maul will not stop until he is just gonna be the Emperor himself, and that wouldn't be good.
Yeah, there's like, I was just thinking as you were talking, Ben, like, is there a world where Luthen would have recruited Maul, kind of thing? Like, is that something that could have happened? How much is of Maul not being able to get along with these people is because of their preconceived notions about who he is, which is something that has kind of been under the surface this entire season, of him trying to say to Devin, like, listen to what I'm saying, not what you've heard about me. And so I'm thinking that, and I'm thinking, like, why wouldn't that work? Is that maybe something that's on the good guys, quote unquote, of you're not giving this guy a chance? But ultimately, I think you're right. Maul's goal is not, he doesn't want Palpatine to fall so that he can be replaced with a new Republic, which even or something even better, which is like, that's what unites Saw and Mon Mothma and Bail and Luthen and all these different factions. Senator Singh, what creates this alliance of rebels. That Maul probably would get to that point again, to bring back the Last Jedi comparison that Jeff made, of if he were in the throne room on the Death Star, if Vader threw, if he was standing in Luke's place and he had saved Vader and they'd thrown the Emperor down the shaft, he would stare at that throne the same way that Kylo does, longingly, and go for it the way he did. And so, I think what the best case scenario in terms of team ups for Devin, or a best case scenario for team ups in terms of Devin and Maul, might be that, flash in the pan, man, if only these guys could get along long term, they would be unstoppable. But they can't. So we just get these flashes of, action together along the lines of Rey and Kylo against the Praetorian Guards.
It doesn't help, right, that Maul is so separated from the rest of the group, at least in episode 8, because Maul is just kind of going through his own adventure for the most part, and everybody else is going through. It doesn't help that they're separate right now. But yeah, great point, Dom.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the group, the rest of the group getting back together, a lot of the action that isn't Maul focused in these episodes relates to Riley being captured by the Empire, and the efforts to rescue him, involving everyone's favorite rule following droid, good old Two Boots. Two Boots, who called the Empire, who has been going along with them, right down to the fact that he took his 2 boots right off. He was no boots in this episode. But over the course of the episode, he does eventually come to realize the error of his ways. Jeff, I'm going to throw this one right back to you. What did you make of Two Boots' arc across these 2 episodes?
Oh man, I'm gonna try to activate my inner Hannah for a moment. Two Boots is my guy, dog. Two Boots is amazing. He is the glue that holds Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord together. He's the star of the show. They could call it Two Boots the show. I'm hyperbolizing a little bit, but I really like Two Boots. The prison sequence and trying to do like what Finn does in The Force Awakens with Poe, trying to break him out of prison, right? And be like, oh no, we're just going somewhere. I'm just taking the processing. He's a bad prisoner here, but man, I just love Two Boots' voice acting. And
Richard Ayoade is a comedic genius. Continue.
He really is.
I agree, because it's just top-notch voice acting, and this character that you would think it's not like snarky the way K2SO is, right? But it's more of just like a, yes, you're a droid. Yes, you have the fun opportunity to work in a prison, and you're just. But yeah, I don't have much else to say other than Two Boots is my guy, and I would love a Two Boots Disney Plus series. Lucasfilm, make it happen.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, you didn't think anybody could have less chill while being undercover than Finn or Luke and Han in A New Hope, and yet there's Two Boots just babbling away. He might as well be wearing a big old sign that says, "I'm breaking this guy out of prison. Nobody look at me." And yet he succeeds. Chris, what have you thought of the way the show has explored Two Boots across the last couple of episodes?
What I love the most about Two Boots is after all the things that has happened, he is still holding Lawson's Grande Dirty Matcha with oat milk and 2 pumps of hazelnut syrup. And that is just wonderful that he's still holding it.
Love it.
Lawson strikes me as just like a straight black coffee guy.
Sorry. Lawson's Americano with no rum.
I mean, clearly Lawson doesn't sleep like ever. Because he comes in one of the earlier episodes, he comes home. It's daylight. He's clearly been up all night. It's the morning. He comes home, and he's like, "Oh yeah, hi Riley, how's it going?" And he talks to him like 2 minutes, and he gets a call from Tuba. He's like, "Oh, I gotta go back to work." I'm like, are you ever at home? Would you do anything besides drink coffee and be at work? My dude.
But yeah, it's a great visual symbol that Two Boots is still hanging on to a certain level of sentimentality there, and then that's what ultimately causes him to break protocol. So I think that it's a really cool story with him, and it's an extremely lovable character.
Yeah.
Do we have Two Boots action figures, or I want a Two Boots plushie, man? Like, come on.
With removable boots.
Oh god, removable boots.
Oh man, like the Hasbro figure where you have the boots separate from the figure. Oh,
Hasbro.
That would be amazing.
Hasbro, you have one job. Please do it right.
Anything else we really want to hit about this episode, or shall we start moving along the wall towards where another wall will meet it in some sort of like a corner kind of place?
I mean,
I will say that one thing that I find very interesting that I do love about the animation of this show is it's got kind of a reverse animated style to it. Like a lot of modern animated shows tend to have the environments and especially the backgrounds be hyper realistic, but then there's still animated characters moving throughout, and animated characters themselves are the most cartoonish thing about the show, especially like Pixar and a lot of modern anime is like that, and we've seen that a lot in like Star Wars Visions and things, and so
Tales as well. I think Tales is really leans hard into that. Yeah,
very true. Very, very true. Yeah, so much it's like that. So what continues to strike me about this show is how the most stylized aspect of the show is the environments that they're in, and kind of the broader landscapes are kind of a lot more stylized. They actually very much do look like concept art paintings. and then the characters themselves are kind of the most realistic thing, realism wise. And so I love that reverse style because it's something that we haven't seen a lot of. It's kind of reversing subverting the trend that we've had in animation over the past like decade. So I think that's really cool. I love the look of this show.
Yeah, it's almost a little bit of a throwback to like early Star Wars, where so many of the backgrounds were matte paintings, like they were literal paintings. And now, now with the movies and the shows, the backgrounds are digitally created and they look photoreal and they're incredible. But when you watch the original trilogy and even places in the prequel trilogy, you see the background. Those are just paintings. Those are paintings, and that's we've kind of reverted back to that in a cool way. Just cranked the artistry up even more so, or the stylization up even more so. It's absolutely gorgeous. All right, you know what time it is? I think it's that time. I think it's time for your favorite segment. It's time for my favorite segment. It's time once again for Ben's Connection Corner. Connections in the corner with Ben. It's Ben's Connection Corner. Do.
How's it going, everybody?
Ben's Connection Corner is filmed in front of a live studio audience. So Ben, as usual, there has been no pre-discussion. There has been no planning.
Does there have to be?
This is entirely on you. What have you got for us?
When has it not been entirely on myself with this damn segment?
You made up this segment.
Dom sung the theme music.
I have to remind myself, everyone, like, you did this to yourself, right? Like most of the things that I stress about in my life, it's my fault. It's all my fault. Okay, I did this to myself. I go to look for all the source of all my problems. I go look in a mirror. Okay, that's my life.
There's an episode of this show from 2022, almost 4 years ago, where we're talking about Andor, and you're like, "I'm going to do a new segment," and I think you thought it was going to be a one-off bit. Just trying to prove a point that Andor had connections to the other Star Wars movies.
Because that's what friends do. They watch you make a mistake and they never let you forget it ever.
We will not let the bit die. We've made a song. There's animation. Listeners have gotten in on it. It's really been a group effort. Yeah, it's been a world tour.
You have a spinning Ben saying, "How's it going, everybody?"
Yeah.
Well, screw you. Because hear. So here we go. Let's go for the however many time this is. I'm gonna start. Speaking of listener, we got some feedback here. Because you can't actually submit your own connection to the Connection Corner. If you're on the show, you shut your mouth during a segment, but everybody else outside can submit.
Outsourcing.
So Ingenious. Our good friend Ingenious, who's all over the Discord and on social media, they actually point out, they said a snippet of Maul's theme from Rebels can be heard towards the end of episode 8. And I'll be honest, I don't know what Maul's theme from Rebels is. I'm gonna have to actually go do some research on this and see. But definitely let me know if you heard what Ingenious heard. But that was pretty cool. So obviously previously we talked about the fact that Rena Sewell is voiced by Pamela Adlon. I recently found out that Pamela Adlon also voices Bobby Hill on King of the Hill. And now listening to Rena Sewell talk, I'm like, okay, I hear it. It's there. It's all in there. I love that. So, I'm just listening to some Maul talk and be like, God dang it, Bobby. So I love
King of the Hill, also one of Dave Filoni's first animated drops in animation.
I forgot about that. You're right. Oh, that's great. I love that. There was a shot in this where you get a clear view of the side of Maul's head and the fact that he still has an earring. And I was reminded of the fact that the entire reason that Darth Maul has an earring, still has an earring 25 years later, is because Ray Park had an earring and he just decided one day to wear it to set, and they put makeup on him, and George just took one look at him and went, all right, that's fine. Looks cool. Just leave it. And that is why all the lore surrounding Maul having an earring. To this day, it's a part of his character, and it's an indelible mark. So this was interesting. I knew I always catch sound effects because they recycle sound effects every once in a while, and I love the fact that the sound of the biker scout going in, plunging himself into the gunship when Daki throws him up, which I love. That, by the way, the whole chase sequence is great.
So
Really didn't talk about that at all, but that whole sequence was great. That is the same yelling sound effect that the biker scout on Endor makes when he plows into the tree in Return of the Jedi. Nice. I love that they reused that exact scream. It's just great. And also, yes, Iko Diodaki committing more insurance fraud. Just guy's a menace. Okay, so I actually have a question for you guys. Is anybody else caught off guard by the recap at the beginning of episode 8, the second episode for this week? Because if you noticed, it kind of goes through the process, and then there's a small break, and then it goes into the final scene of the last episode and kind of replays.
I saw that.
Yeah. And at the end of it, I thought, see, I'm the person that I always kind of just skip the recap. I'm just like, I just watched the other episode. Why do I need a recap of the last episode? I just watched 2 seconds. But then they added it in, so I was totally caught off guard. I was like, oh, this is part of the recap. And then it goes into Maul jumping out of the cave and turning his lightsaber on, doing a spin, and falling into the cavern below, which is insane. And here's the kicker with this. So the sound that he makes, the yell that he makes, is basically the same sound effect yell, again, a recycled yell, that Sidious makes when he does his one spin to go and attack the Jedi in the
I thought that was
council
it. Yeah.
chambers.
Nice.
I thought I heard
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then he does the same kind of spin that Sidious does. But the thing with this, and this is a deep cut here, so bear with me. It's the same spin that Sidious does, but it's the opposite way. He's going down, and I couldn't help but be reminded by the fact that when you play the original Lego Star Wars games and you play as Emperor Palpatine, when you do a double jump and you attack and you go down, Palpatine turns upside down and drills into the floor with his lightsaber. It does the same thing. It's the same move that Maul does in this episode. So I'm gonna assume that the guys behind the animation, they were that was a subtle reference to Lego Star Wars, the originals.
It must
This
be.
is why this is a recurring segment on this podcast, Dom, because Ben is so good at the connections.
He nails it.
Awesome.
Nails it. Anything else? Anything else you got?
I think I've exhausted my connections. And hey, if anybody look, this is the point where you're allowed to say if you have a connection yourself, okay? I would have yelled at you previously, but now this floor is open.
Again,
so then earlier in the episode, there was like Maul, and there was like a yellow version of Maul. That's his brother Savage. I don't know if you guys caught that. I don't know if you realize that.
What?
And then
what?
And then this is like a real, like, you had to be really paying attention, deep cut. At the end of the episode, Vario mentions Dryden Voss, which you may or may not know, this is Paul Bettany's character in Solo: A Star Wars Story.
Crimson Dawn?
Dryden, man.
I said it in chat. Like, I was jumping up and down when they mentioned Dryden Voss because I'm like, oh my goodness, it's him! It's him! Where's Paul Bettany? Bring him in! Bring him in!
Yeah.
I want Crimson Dawn.
Kira time, let's go.
Let's go. Star Wars Outlaws, baby. Let's go. Kira.
Yeah.
And that, folks, is why it's not Dom's Connection Corner. It is Ben's Connection Corner. Connections in the corner with Ben. It's Ben's Connection Corner. Do.
How's it going, everybody?
Ben's Connection Corner is filmed in front of a live studio audience. All right, let's talk about it for a minute. At the end of the episode, we get the drop. Crimson Dawn, Dryden Voss. Seems like that's going to feature into next week's episode. And of course, lays the groundwork for potentially, or presumably, the show leading into Solo and perhaps telling the story that we never got, because Solo didn't make enough money at the box office because Bob Iger wouldn't let them move the release date and because they didn't keep the right directors, but that's all neither here nor there. Solo, obviously there's the big hole in Maul's story is what happens between this and his reemergence on Malachor and Rebels, and we've just have that one little glimpse. And I don't know, where are we feeling? What are we feeling going into the finale about this connection?
Okay, because, and I think I might have mentioned this at the during our review of the first few episodes, or maybe even before that. Because there's a season 2. If something doesn't happen in the finale of season 1, I'm not gonna be upset because I know there's a season 2. So I'm just gonna, accept it for what it is, and I'm gonna probably enjoy it. There's no expectations going into next week or 3 days. But that being said, overall, when you look at the whole show, if Daenerys Targaryen is not in this show, I'm going to be upset because, how can you not? You now mentioned Dryden Voss. You've now mentioned Crimson Dawn. You've confirmed that there's a connection, and now you have this a little bit of Maul and Solo at the end of Solo, and this a little bit of Solo and Maul at the end of this episode. Now we're just waiting to see the full meshing of these ideas, and let's go. I'm gonna be upset if this doesn't mean more than just a reference.
I mean, how old would Kira be at this point? She'd be like 5. How old is Han? Han's like 30 in a new. So maybe she'd be 11. 11, maybe.
Yeah,
somewhere in there. I don't know. How old? Yeah.
Preteen.
She'd be in middle school if she went to middle school.
Mother Proxima's middle school for abandoned street children on Corellia.
I am curious to know. Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
One thing I just want to know, the reason why when I saw Solo: A Star Wars Story for the first time 8 years ago, when Maul was on screen, I cheered not because my friend saw it with me who hadn't seen Clone Wars, and he's like, "Oh, you're happy he's alive?" I'm like, "Oh, I knew he was alive. I watched Clone Wars." But the idea that he's like the I'll say it, the Shadow Lord of Crimson Dawn. Woo, some title drop right there. Yeah. And we were dealing with the Pikes in the first few episodes of the show. So again, like I said, I recently beat Star Wars Outlaws. I'm loving those factions, but in this case, I've always wanted to see more Maul in Crimson Dawn and to see how he got that role, because so often Maul is defined by what we've seen him with Sidious, what we've seen with Obi-Wan, with the Jedi, how he is in Rebels. I want to see more Crimson Dawn action, and I hope Maul Shadow Lord brings it, whether it's the episode coming out in 3 days or season 2, whenever that will be.
Yeah, this show has the potential, I think, to really recontextualize a lot of what we think about Solo, right? Because you just said it, Jeff. I had the same assumption that Maul was the head of Crimson Dawn. I don't think he's the head of Crimson Dawn anymore. I think whatever the Shadow Collective is back, and he's kind of the head of everything. And so Dryden answers to him, the Pikes answer to him, maybe Black Sun answers to him. Like all these factions that we know of, they all answer to him. He is, like you said, the Shadow Lord. Like he oversees everything from the shadows. And then this thought literally just occurred to me about 2 minutes ago. So maybe it's insane. In Solo, Kira mentions that she learned Terras Cassi, which for all you Ben's Connection Corner fans was such a deep reference that Ben didn't even know it when it was brought up in Solo. We were sitting there watching it,
right over my
and she said Terras Cassi, and I like hit him on the shoulder like, they said the thing, and Ben looked at me like, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah, this is like a live. Basically, it's just like Dom going like Terras Cassi, oh my gosh, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like I have no idea.
But presumably that's some sort of it's a fighting style. Maybe it's some kind of Jedi Sith thing. Maul's been saying like, oh, I want an apprentice, and he's got this idea in his head that it's a young girl, and so he's gone after Devin. I mean, maybe it wasn't Devin. Maybe it was Kira.
Let's go.
Also,
all of this stuff, come to me on Dathomir. Maybe there's something there. Maybe he's training her up in the ways of the Force.
Oh heck yeah!
I don't know. She never uses the Force in Star Wars Outlaws. I mean, there's no sign of it, and that takes place between episodes 5 and 6. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, but just because we didn't see her do it doesn't mean she can't.
But let me also broaden your horizons here a little bit. There is nothing about Solo: A Star Wars Story that indicates that Maul and Devin aren't still working together. That Devin isn't around at that point. That there very well could be still a thing. My headcanon right now is that it's not Kira that abandons him on Malachor. It's Devin that does it.
It's very possible. Very, very possible. I mean, let's just speculate wildly. One sort of fun way they could handle all this is, some kind of maybe mini time jump for season 2 that could take place between the opening scene of Solo and the end scene of Solo, where we see Kira, begin to train with Maul, her rise through the ranks, and that could build up to something that ends in an exciting way in season 2 that's disconnected from anything from Solo. Season 3 opens with an animated recreation of that scene, but from Maul's perspective, and then carries on the story from there.
The Mandalore,
I would love that.
A little bit, and then carries the story from there. That's wild, potentially irresponsible speculation on my part.
It's not irresponsible. It's necessary.
Realistically, if you're not going to tell that story and fill in those gaps with a Darth Maul show, if you're not going to fill in Maul's show, then what are you doing?
Yeah, there's the possibility right there, and I mean, Jeff, you keep bringing up Outlaws. They have a voice actor who can play Kira if they
you don't need Emilia Clarke. Yeah,
if you can't get Emilia Clarke, but if you can get Emilia Clarke, get Emilia Clarke.
Get Emilia Clarke.
Get Emilia Clarke. Why not? She's she's not.
All
as
I'm
far as we know, she's
saying
not in
is
House of the Dragon.
Give Maul Shadow Lord 10 to 15 seasons. Really conservatively, and let Jennifer Corbett write Star Wars for the rest of her life. That's all I ask.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, it was kind of weird when this show was announced that she wasn't part of the main creative crew with Brad Rao and Matt Michnovitz, and it seems like she wants to do other things in addition to Star Wars, but then she just comes back to Star Wars and is like, hey, I'm still the best. What if I wrote the best episodes of the season?
She's
there you go.
She's just stunting on everybody. She just comes in all quiet, being like, yeah, I'm just gonna write some banger ass Star Wars right off the bat.
She's a ringer. She's like when your crappy beer league team brings in someone who played in the minor leagues or something, except she played in the major leagues and is coming back to a major. She's like trade deadline. I don't know. I'm gonna stop this.
It's like when the veteran comes back.
She's great,
right?
is what I'm saying. She's great.
It's like when Tiger Woods comes back to golf. It's like, oh, he's the best there ever was. He's maybe very old, but oh man, the big guy's back. The best one there ever was.
Yeah. Yes. But except she's not she's still in the prime of her career. I don't know. This metaphor has gone off the rails.
I would think if either George Lucas himself were to come back and work on an animated show, or Dave Filoni were to have a more active role in the animation department.
No pressure, Jen. We're just comparing you to George Lucas now.
These analogies are getting out of hand, guys.
It really have. We've really lost the plot here. What the point is that Jennifer Corbett is a great writer, and when she comes back to write Star Wars, it's always good. We have 2 very strong examples in the last 2 weeks. Oh, fantastic stuff. All right, let's wrap up our Maul Shadow Lord discussion. Give some final thoughts and scores out of 10 for the episodes. Jeff, why don't you start us off? Final thought score out of 10 for chapter 7 and chapter 8.
So I have a tradition in my ranking of doing decimals, and I know not everybody. It's controversial around the Star Wars Underworld parts, and that tradition of mine will continue.
Decimals.
These 2 episodes have been the best of the series thus far, and we're not even done yet. So with that in mind, 9.4. Because I really love these episodes. I told you I'd do the decimal. You want me to do 9.42, 9.425? You know what I mean? But 9.4 out of 10. These were fantastic episodes. I very much enjoyed it. Like I said, I loved when they mentioned Crimson Dawn. I loved all the connections and Easter eggs, as Ben's Connection Corner so aptly summarized. And I also really loved the lightsaber duality of Maul basically facing, 2 Mauls basically, but they're the Inquisitors instead of Maul, and just seeing the psyche of Maul, like we mentioned earlier, and the progression of Devin not going the way we thought Devin would go, and obviously 2 Boots being Poggies. So great episodes, and I very much enjoyed it. 9.4.
9.4 from Jeff. Ben, final thoughts, score out of 10 for Call to Oblivion and The Creeping Fear.
Well, I'm gonna one up Jeff, and I'm gonna say 9.5. I'm gonna give both these episodes a 9.5, and I'm gonna say that I agree. I really enjoyed both of these episodes. We didn't really talk about the Inquisitors. These episodes, I haven't been this intimidated by Inquisitors since season 1 of Rebels. This is truly great showing, and almost a rehabilitation of both those characters, because they're both were kind of one-note villains, didn't do much, and died in kind of very inconspicuous ways. And very much, just that whole fight is amazing. And just the whole Vision Quest them all goes on, everything, it really is it sets up a great, it's unfortunate that okay, we've only got 2 more episodes. It's really getting good. This show is really getting good now. I don't want it to end, but yet here we are. It's happening, and but yeah, I think these are some of the best episodes. I can only expect that now that the next episodes will top these somehow, even though these are the best episodes we've gotten so far. So yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed these.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, your final thoughts and score out of 10 for episodes 8 and 9.
Yeah, there was
7 and 8. What is this? 7 and 8. Yeah, 7 and 8.
7 and 8. 7 and 8.
Jumped.
9. That's why. Sounds like something else. Yes, I agree. This show is continuing to heat up, continuing to add depth as we get to know the characters more and we get to see more dimensions of them. And it's wonderful action set pieces in both of these episodes with the Inquisitor Maul duel and then the escape from the prison sequence. I feel like the show still has a little bit to grow. Maybe it's a little room for Kira to come. I don't know what I'm expecting to kind of make it like a perfect episode for me. But this is really, really, really near perfect, Star Wars at its best. So 9.6.
Well, in that spirit, I'll say 9.7.
Wow.
Is this an auction?
Yeah.
So
you got a 9.7 here, 9.7 here, you got 9.7 here, we got 9.8, 9.8 in the back, 9.8 coming from us.
Yeah.
9.8 coming from 9.8 coming from Australia. Dingo ate my baby. 1, 2, 3. All right, shut up.
What?
And so 9.8.
9.7. The Maul's Vision Quest, I thought was just really, really terrific. Really put that character into such wonderful perspective and changed how we think about him and the way that he is motivated, and it just makes him all the more tragic knowing that his reasons for doing what he does comes from the place that it comes from, and that his motivations in one sense are very, very pure, even though they are so they get so manipulated and corrupted into anger and hatred and revenge. So really, really, really wonderful stuff in that episode. What was funny is chapter 7 is an episode we really didn't talk much about. It we've used this term before, and I never mean it as an insult, but I especially don't mean it as an insult before. It was like the best bit of table setting I've ever seen. Like that was like somebody setting the most beautiful table I've ever witnessed. It did so much to build off the previous episodes, but also transition us into episode 8 and presumably 9 and 10 in the next week. But it just like it laid the groundwork for something that was so wonderful that followed. And yeah, the action is great. The visuals are great. The music is great. The Kiners continue to kill it. I love the music during the car chase sequence. Thought that was just fantastic. Devin stealing a car was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
The whole show has just been terrific. I thought of a connection I meant to bring up earlier, that the fight in the waterfall between Maul and the Inquisitors made me think of Star Wars Visions and the duel when the Ronin and the other Sith warrior fight in the waterfall. I wondered if that was a little nod to the first episode of Visions as well.
Can I just say, I love
9.7.
that. Oh, sorry to interrupt, Dom. I just want
Go
to
ahead,
say real
Jeff.
quick. I love that the Kiners, that it's now a family composition, a family production with Kevin Kiner and his daughter and I believe his son. And just seeing their progression, like while they're in college going to music school, they're scoring Star Wars, and they've been doing great on Bad Batch and Ahsoka, and obviously Maul Shadow Lord, and we're gonna hear him again in Ahsoka season 2 later this year, hopefully.
There we go. Yeah, fabulous work by the Kiners. So that is where we will leave things for Maul Shadow Lord. All right, we got a bunch of video game stuff we're going to run through relatively quickly, but we'll touch on all of it. Starting with the news that Star Wars Galactic Racers will be released on October 6th, 2026. That's later this year. Jeff, tell us, what should we expect on October 6th?
On October 6th, 2026, you will basically, if you remember playing the Burnout video games back in the 2000s on the PlayStation 2 or Need for Speed, you will get that, but in Star Wars form. And you will add some pod racing elements in addition to the bikes and the turbolifts, that the normal vehicles you have in the game. You will get a deluxe edition. You will get maybe a collector's edition. They revealed that this morning. And the collector's edition costs $170. Deluxe is, I believe, $80. Standard is $60, which is lower than the average price of a video game right now, which is $70 for a new game, that is. So you're going to get a great Star Wars racing game, I hope, from racing game devs. And you will get that 6 weeks before the video game industry implodes on Grand Theft Auto 6, because everybody and their mothers are talking about that, apparently. Right, so you'll get your Galactic Racer, your fun Star Wars racing. It's weird, Dom, because I'm waiting for the collector's edition to be available. It's not available, at least in the States. It's not available for pre-order yet. I want to try to get that collector's edition. Let me see. It comes with like a cool little steel case with a sleeve. There's a land speeder model that it comes with based off of one of the ships in the game. Wow. And they have a physical art book, and it's just like they got the whole shebang. And I'm just happy to get a Star Wars collector's edition. You don't get many of those for a video game. I've seen it in other areas of the gaming industry, but not really with Star Wars. So I'm very hyped for Galactic Racer.
I do love me an art book. That is pretty cool. All right, well, Galactic Racer, October 6th, 2026. Okay. Also, we talked about this off the top, but let's go a little bit more in depth in it. Fortnite, Star Wars, somehow Palpatine returned. I mean, somehow the Mandalorian and Grogu returned. Walk us through what is happening? There's a timeline starting April 30th, which is today, with new account linking reward. That sounds fun.
So that is a Fishman in Carbonite. That is if you link your account, I can't remember which account you link.
Your Epic Games account with your Epic Games account with your My Disney account.
Okay, that makes sense. I've done that before. If I've already done it, do I get the thing automatically?
Yes,
Is that how
you
it
get it
works?
automatically.
Okay,
That
good.
happened to me
Good.
today.
I was gonna be
Yep.
mad at Epic. Okay, I was about to be mad at Epic if they screwed me out of this, even though I don't even really want the thing. But if it's free, I'll take it. And then tomorrow, or in a couple hours actually, Anakin and Ahsoka from the Clone Wars are coming to the Fortnite shop, which is pretty cool. And it's Ahsoka in her season 3 through 6 outfit, which I think Clone Wars wise, her superior outfit.
Yes.
And her back bling, aka for you uncultured swines, that's her backpack, and that is her basically the Republic backpack with Rota in it. Which is very timely. Very timely. And then also apparently, Jeff, do you tell us about? Do you know anything about these new like mini games they're coming out with?
Yeah, so Fortnite has had a lot of, they call it creative mode, but basically they're user created or game modes within Fortnite. So if you think Fortnite is just battle royale or just a pew pew, I'm shooting people, it's way more than that. There's so many different game modes, either made by Epic Games or by various users or other players of Fortnite. So so Epic and Lucasfilm, they're providing 3 new game modes starting tomorrow. So one is Galactic Siege, where you have 10v10 combat. Basically, think of miniature battlefronts, but you have 10v10 combat, fight in large-scale player versus player class-based battles. So I'm going to tell you, Ben, I cannot wait. I'm basically going to be, it's like playing Battlefront with you and Joel and everybody in our game nights.
And this is the official game. There is a fan made one that's called Battle. It's Frontline or something. It's a completely fan made one, and it's like a full on Battlefront like reboot inside Fortnite. It's going to be like Scarif and Hoth and a bunch of different planets you're going to be able to play on, which is crazy. And that's just a fan made side project that fans are doing.
Yeah, and then let's see, there was another one called Droid Tycoon, the one from Epic and Lucasfilm, one of the 3, where you build and customize droids using Star Wars blueprints, and you can unlock rare components and special missions. I personally don't know how that's going to go. That might be more of a tinkering kind of mode as opposed to a pew-pew. Cool. But this one, and I know, Ben, you and Joel were telling me in our group chat this morning how you were hyped about this other game style.
This is wild. This is wild.
Escape Vader. So the official description says, hide, run, and try to survive in this 4-player co-op game where you attempt to escape the terrifying Sith Lord, Darth Vader.
So you're basically you're in an abandoned Star Destroyer that's like broken up, and you're in space trying to get out, and Vader is trying to kill you. Terrifying.
So is this the version where you can trick the AI into making Vader say the F word?
Maybe. I don't know.
That was last year.
We'll find out tomorrow.
I think you missed that. Yeah.
No, I heard about that one.
I remember that. That was interesting. That was a lot of Vader saying weird stuff. Thanks, AI.
That $100 million investment in OpenAI really worked out for you, Bob?
Yeah.
Anyways,
and that's all the stuff that's happening just tomorrow. Apparently, what is this, May 14th? Lego Fortnite Odyssey. What do we know about that, Jeff?
Not much. They said it'll have a new hover brick, new hover vehicles, Mando and Grogu, and their Lego form will be playable in Lego Fortnite Odyssey, and Star Wars enemies. So I think it's like last year when you had lightsabers and you had stormtroopers pop up around the map. For those who don't know, Lego Fortnite is basically Lego Minecraft, but in Fortnite. So it's a Minecraft style game. So expect to continue to craft and build materials while hopefully interacting with Mando and Grogu, and hopefully they'll bring back Lego Stormtroopers as well. But what's really cool is that like every single outfit in Fortnite has a Lego version. So I use a Sith Trooper skin, the one from Rise of Skywalker, as my skin in Fortnite. There's a Lego version of that, and it looks just like it's like a Lego piece. It's incredible. So that's Lego Fortnite Odyssey, man.
Yeah, it's great. And real quick, I just want to mention the last 3. They're going to have a Mandalorian Grogu watch party in Fortnite, apparently they're going to screen like 10 minutes of the movie or like a special preview within Fortnite, and you'll get like a special if you spend like 20 minutes in there, or like the majority of the runtime, you'll get some kind of free prize. They're releasing a new. I mean, yeah, there is an emote for that.
There is.
There's also a Mandalorian pen and ink, basically like a comic book version of Mando, coming to the Fortnite shop, a skin. And then apparently none other than Jon Favreau is coming to Fortnite. He's going to be there to answer your questions in a special Q&A with director Jon Favreau of The Mandalorian and Grogu. So,
and that Q&A is on May 26th. So a few days after the film releases. So I'm assuming it would be, there would be spoilers in there.
Okay, who does Jon Favreau play as Fortnite? Because obviously we know Favreau is a big Fortnite player. What's his skin? Do we know?
Happy.
I was going to say.
Is there a happy skin?
I don't know, but there should be.
There should be.
The doctor from Elf, the pediatrician from Elf that plays, who gives Buddy the paternity test.
I was thinking one of the K-pop demon hunters. That was my thought.
He plays as. I think he plays as Sabrina Carpenter. That would be my vote.
There you go.
There's only a million Sabrina Carpenters. You can't go anywhere in Fortnite without getting shotgunned by Sabrina Carpenter.
Or Hatsune Miku. That would be a good one. A lot of Mikus.
Is Jon Favreau not famous enough to get his own special avatar? Is that
play as Jon Favreau?
There should be at least be a Paz Vizsla. Come on.
Oh, that'd be so cool. I think it'd be cool if he played as John Wick, Keanu Reeves. That was a recent skin that keeps rotating in there. I could see him doing that.
There you go. Great stuff. Okay, that's cool. That's gonna be fun, I'm sure, for everybody who plays Fortnite and people that want to check it out. That's good stuff. Sticking with video game news. The Power, as we talked about off the top, the Power Wash Simulator 2 Star Wars pack is coming. For those of you that think you have too much time on your hands, we will present. You can now clean your car virtually.
Clean your X-wing.
Yeah.
I would encourage you to watch the trailer. Watch the trailer.
Does this cost money?
Yes, the Star Wars pack will be. The Star Wars pack will be $10. The game itself, I think it's $40.
So, if not only you have too much time on your hands, you feel you have too much disposable income, you can play this game. Okay.
Do I know something, Dom? For me,
sure.
I'm that much of a diehard Star Wars fan that if you put Star Wars in anything, even if it's something gimmicky like Power Wash, or if we're going to talk about that Star Wars Monopoly game, you can just plaster Star Wars onto a pinball, and I will buy that game.
Yeah,
Jeff's the guy buying all those Star Wars bananas that we saw a few years ago.
Iceberg lettuce. Yeah, look, you make a Star Wars pinball machine, and I walk into an arcade and it's there. Of course, I'm going to it first. But I don't know. This Power Wash thing is quite. It boggles my mind. But hey, you know what? If people enjoy it, people enjoy it.
It is definitely for a certain type of person that is it's within the Venn diagram of people that like Star Wars, people like video games, and also people that are really OCD and enjoy cleaning for some reason. There's something inside our heads that just makes it satisfying.
It is very therapeutic, and they've had 2 different Power Wash Simulator games, and this is the first Star Wars pack I've ever seen. So,
and honestly, I think Dom could use that. Honestly, I think he wouldn't be so uptight about this stuff if he just sit down and enjoy a session of Power Wash Simulator with the Star Wars DLC.
Look, if someone wants to buy it for me, I'll play it. I'll come on and I'll give a 40-minute review next week. Instead of the Maul Shadow Lord finale, I will review that exclusively.
I never thought Ben would be playing video games as much as he does nowadays, Dom. So having you play at least one video game, that's the goal.
I would love to, but I find I don't have enough time for all the other things that I want to do. That these things sort of that's the thing that has fallen into the background. I will tell you that I had this thought at the beginning of the year. This is sort of mid-January of what I have never done in Star Wars, but I would really like to do is I would really, really like to play Knights of the Old Republic all the way through. I've never done it.
Yeah.
And I got as far as buying a copy.
Oh, no.
And if we were to look at my desktop right now, you would see the little Steam icon there. And whenever I shut down my computer, it goes looking for updates. And I'm like, there's nothing to update. I haven't opened you since,
It's in your backlog,
January
Dom.
28th, 2026. So that is something I would love to do. I'm not
your one game backlog.
There are many, many, many Star Wars video games that I would love to play from years past and years current. But I will say that power washing an X-Wing remains remarkably low on that list.
It's funny you mentioned KOTOR. Like literally, I will tell you, I will admit, I bought multiple versions of KOTOR. And I tried. I went, I'm gonna play this. I couldn't get to the first level. I couldn't do it.
I'm doomed.
I tried to get you to play it, Ben, because I'm like, it's so good. It's the best Star Wars game ever, man.
I think I've realized that turn-based combat is not my forte.
I cannot do turn-based combat either. It's not my thing.
Japanese role-playing games got me in like Final Fantasy, Persona. That got me into turn-based combat. So I used to be the same. But yeah, the Power Wash Star Wars pack. We don't have a specific release date just this summer. That's all we got.
And it costs $10 in addition to the game that already. I mean, these people put effort into these, put time and effort and skill into these things. So I suppose they should get paid for them. They should. Absolutely, they should. And finally, we also have learned that there is a new Star Wars Monopoly video game.
Oh,
Jeffrey,
wow.
tell us about this.
I don't know anything about this. Yeah, so.
Oh man, I saw a trailer for this yesterday. I'm like, that's weird because there aren't that many licensed Monopoly video games. It's basically the Monopoly board game, but in video game form. For those who don't know, but there's not much info about the Star Wars one. It's called Monopoly Star Wars Heroes versus Villains, and it's going to have various cards. It'll have I saw mostly original trilogy packs. I don't know if there's other trilogy cards or whatnot in there, but yeah, I compared to the other games, compared to like Galactic Racer and Fortnite, like my knowledge is limited on this. I don't have usually Monopoly games that are on a video game console. They usually are not done at the highest quality. It's usually cheap marketing, cheap little thing. It's sort of like how Star Wars licensed video games used to be like 20, 30 years ago, with the exception of certain games, obviously, like X-Wing or like, Dark Forces, KOTOR, etc. But anyways, Monopoly, this one, I'm happy to report, Ben, that this Monopoly game will be on the Nintendo Switch 1, so Ben will be able to buy it and have it sit in his backlog just like KOTOR is.
Well, maybe we can get a live. Maybe we can get Ben to live stream playing Monopoly on his Switch. The only thing I know about Star Wars Monopoly is last year, round about this time, when I was at Star Wars Celebration Japan, I was hanging around the live stage because they'd been doing all sorts of cool interviews, and they were really hyping up that they had something else that was coming up in just a little bit that was going to be really worth your time. So I'm like, all right, I'll stick around, I'll hang out, see what's going on. And they brought out like a TV for one of the hosts to stand next to, and Anthony Carboni went and stood next to the next to the TV, and then clearly got something in his earpiece that said "Get off stage," and he walked off stage. And then Ashley Eckstein came out and stood next to the stage, and they then went, "All right, and we're live in 3, 2," and she went. Big news, everybody. We've got a exclusive world premiere of a new Star Wars Monopoly trailer. And they played the trailer on all the big screens, and it got no reaction whatsoever from all of us watching.
Wow.
They even dragged Ashley out and put her in front of us, trying to get a reaction, and nobody responded.
Interrupting Carboni. How dare you? Only
That's
Anthony
wild,
Daniels can interrupt Carboni. Come on.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So a correction to what I said earlier about Monopoly, it's not just the original trilogy. They do have prequel trilogy stuff. I saw Cad Bane and Darth Maul. I think they're doing all eras for
I'm looking at the graphics for it. There's Kylo, there's Rey, there's Captain Phasma, there's sequel stuff, there's Finn. We got Bo-Katan in here. We're getting some Mando era stuff. Like
that is always my like barometer on these things when I see anything. Like if it's a mural or like a whatever, like a T-shirt, I'm always like, oh, if it's only original trilogy characters, I'm like, nah, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. But if you start putting prequel stuff in there, you put some sequel stuff in there, you start putting Clone Wars stuff or Rebel stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, you got me interested.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I
Once,
will say,
once it's the whole saga, yeah.
And then another connection. Who is the publisher of the Monopoly board game? Hasbro. Who is the publisher of Star Wars action figures? Hasbro. Ben's Connection Quarter. Boom.
Yeah, why? We need a new like good Star Wars Monopoly board game, like not the crappy ones they were making during the sequel era, like a proper like full size like Star Wars Monopoly, and not one where you have to send away for the Rey figure. People.
And then the best part would be if like we all met up for Star Wars Celebration or the movie or something, and we all just played that board game all at the table, like at the hotel room or awesome. That would be amazing. That would be great.
Ah, what a time that would be. All right, that's it. That's all we got. I think that's everything. I can't possibly think of anything else that we would have to cover.
Celebration tickets, but that's not gaming.
Yeah, no, exactly. So who needs it? Yeah, Celebration tickets on sale next week if you're going. So have fun, everybody who is. But I think with that, we will begin to wrap things up for this week.
All right. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching and listening. Follow us at the SWU on the various 1,000 social media apps that exist for more Star Wars news and memes throughout the week. Dom, thank you so much for hosting tonight.
It's my pleasure. As always, great fun to talk through those episodes of Maul Shadow Lord. Yeah, cannot wait for the finale this week. It's kind of crazy. We're going to go right from the finale into Mando Grogu a few weeks from now. And then, so we're just in for like a glorious, all Star Wars all the time month coming up, which is basically what we've had for the last month anyways. And then who knows after that? Ninth Jedi, Ahsoka, there's plenty more on the horizon to look forward to. So it's not stopping, and we love that. So yeah, great fun. Again, if you're in Toronto and you want to come out to Resistance Fest, search for Resistance Fest CA on social media. You can get all the details. It's Friday, May 1st, so probably today as you're listening to this. Come join us for some Star Wars and music fun, and check out my Substack, DominicGJones.substack.com. I still haven't reviewed these episodes because this week has been busy, but I will get on that before the finale comes out so we can cover all the episodes there. So yeah, hot off the press is what it's called. DominicGJones.substack.com is where to find it. That's it for me. Can't wait to do all this again in 7 days' time.
Dominic's social media is DominicJ25. Ben, thank you so much for hosting too.
Oh, it was a pleasure as always, and it sucks that we've only got one more time to talk Maul, at least for the season. We'll have more to talk about Maul in the future, to watch him and Devin and all these characters, see how they progress in the next season. Very excited about that. And yet also, the movie Mandalorian and Grogu is still happening. Keep forgetting about that. But and then all the gaming stuff. Tomorrow is May 1st. We're in Star Wars month, guys. It's real. And if you want to, if you are a gamer, come hang out with us on the Discord, because we will be doing a huge epic game night on Friday night, where we'll be probably running away from Vader like a bunch of scared wusses, and all kinds of stuff. It'll be great, and we'll be probably killed by a few times by Sabrina Carpenter. It'll be great.
Amazing. But is it scarier for running away from Ewoks? That is the question that I will have. The link to that Discord is in our description. And Jeff, thank you so much for being on again. We appreciate you.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you, Chris, Dom, and Ben. It was great to be back here again. Now that I'm all caught up on Maul Shadow Lord, and I'm looking forward to episodes 9 and 10 coming out in 3 days' time. And also, thanks for having me gush about all the Star Wars gaming announcements. There were so many. I love that Lucasfilm and everybody's like, let's announce it right before the Star Wars Underworld podcast airs on the Thursday night. I really appreciate their timing in that, even if nobody else in the journalism industry or social media understands that. We get it. We appreciate it. And who knows what'll happen. Star Wars Days on Monday. We might get a shadow drop or something. We might get announcements. And then, the month of May is going to be huge. And I'm looking forward to everything Star Wars wise coming out. So you can follow me on Blue Sky at jif52.bsky.social. That's the only social media I'm on. Ben mentioned the game night. I will be there tomorrow. You will hear me be terrified of Darth Vader in Fortnite. That will be fun. And then, like I said 2 weeks ago, when I was last on this podcast, I will be at Rebel ScumCon this August. And of course, some of our SWU folks will be there as well. And happy. I think they just announced Vanessa Marshall will be there.
Yeah.
And a lot of great special guests. And looking forward to that. So that's what's going on. Thank you guys so much for having me. It's always an honor and privilege whenever I'm able to be on this podcast. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Check out all their shows on our network: Raeside, Iron Cannon, Tales from Beyond the Galaxy, Tractor Beam, and more. And do not forget to subscribe on your way out of here if you have not. That's it. We'll be back next week. Until then, for Ben and Dom and Jeff, my name is Chris, and may the Force be with you.
It's a wrap.